What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hart, and today I'll be breaking down this two-game slate here for Thursday night on DraftKings, talking through some of my favorite plays, some value plays, building out a potential lineup for you guys, as well as some core plays for this two-game slate. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's get right into this breakdown. So heading over here to the odds for tomorrow, we do have some big news, so we'll talk about that here in a second. But 76ers Bucks, first game, the first time seeing both these teams here. It's a 6-point spread. 225 game total. And then Suns Lakers, second time we're seeing these guys. They just played it last night. 6-point spread, 223.5 game total. So game total, not great for either team, or excuse me, either game. But obviously, we're going to have to pick some pieces from both sides. So heading over here to the news, we'll start off here at the top. Obviously, James Harden, he is out for this, or excuse me, we'll go to Booker real fast. Devin Booker, doubtful for this game tomorrow. For this game tomorrow. So that's big news there. Harden out for the 76ers. So that's news there. And then Beal, doubtful as well. So we'll have to look to the Suns there in a second just to get a better understanding of their lineup and what it could potentially be. But want to head over to Philadelphia real fast. We'll go just team by team real quick on their starting lineup. Embiid, Maxey, Harris, Melton, and PJ Tucker will be the starting five there for, we'll just throw it in here to make it easier for you guys to see. So obviously we have Embiid, we have Maxey, we have Melton, and then we have Tobias, and then we have PJ Tucker, and then, sorry, I'll throw in Embiid real fast for you guys. So that's going to be starting five for Philadelphia with Noah Harden. And if I want to show you guys a cool little site here, Roto Grinders. I'm sure some of you guys know it, some of you guys don't. But this is the NBA on-off court tool they have, which allows you to, obviously right now we have to go back to last year, but it allows you to see who really benefits when someone's off the court, especially when a star player like Harden's off. As you can see, the top usage differentials, Maxey's really skyrockets. So same with Tobias, same with Melton. They really get a big bump there with no Harden on the court. And you can play around with it. So it's like you can take people off the court. You can, you can add people on the court however you like, however you see fit. But as you can see, with Harden off the court, obviously, if you don't filter it, you'll get some random people like Mac McClung, who's played 2 games and actual points, DK points. It filters out to 45 for those 2 games there. But don't pay attention to that. You can filter it out. But as you can see, Maxey in about 57 games averages about 42 DraftKings points with no Harden on the floor. We go down here to Tobias Harris, about 58 games. He averages about 38. Move down even more. 63 games for Melton. He's averaged about 35 DraftKings points there. So you get a really good understanding of these players. So obviously as the season goes on, we get more info loaded in. It'll be a very useful tool. So definitely check them out for free, 100% for free. So that's the Philadelphia starting lineup. I will clear it real fast. We'll go to Milwaukee here. On the Milwaukee side, obviously at point guard, how it does that. We'll have to go to 2 here. Point guard, Dame. Shooting guard is going to be Malik Beasley. He's kind of one of the starting lineup unless something randomly changes tomorrow. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Middleton there at small forward, power forward, obviously Giannis, and then center Brook Lopez. So nothing too crazy there in terms of their starting lineup. No really any big news there for the Milwaukee side. Everyone's pretty much good to go. Moving on to the Phoenix side, obviously as I mentioned, there's a lot of news here to kind of go over. So obviously at the top, as we mentioned in the preview or a few seconds ago, Booker doubtful, Bill doubtful. So we'll kind of have to figure that out. So for the point guard position, what to see, they could definitely throw in Eric Gordon, Grayson Allen, and Josh Okogie as the 3 guards, and then they'll have KD at the 4 and Nurkic at the 5. That's definitely a potential lineup for them. So this is definitely going to be more wait and see approach for the Suns here tomorrow. So hopefully we get it before the Philadelphia-Milwaukee game. If not, this kind of leads us and brings us into the first opportunity of the season where you kind of want to utilize late swap to really have that advantage on the normal people, the fish in the field who won't utilize the late swap. They'll just kind of make their lineup based on the news, but they won't wait and see kind of who the starting lineup is, which could really help you out. So as I said, for the point guard position, I wouldn't be surprised if they go with Jordan Goodwin, who would be obviously a fantastic value there at 3,200. Even if he doesn't start and they go with like Grayson Allen, Josh Okogie, and Eric Gordon, he'd be a great player there off the bench. I do think that Saban Lee could probably stack or crack the not starting lineup, but could crack some minutes as well. But yeah, Jordan Gooden would be a great play there at 3,200. Um, but we'll throw in right now, let's just say it's going to be Grayson Allen, Eric Gordon, and then, Josh Okogie, and then Kevin Durant, and then center Jurkic. So I'm assuming this is what the starting lineup will be. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, still stay up to date with the news there. But I'm assuming it's going to be this. But as I mentioned, we could possibly see Jordan Goodwin come in and start. If not, him off the bench is a great, great value play at 3,200, as being pretty much the only guard off the bench there with no Booker and most likely no Beal. So that's kind of the lineup there. And then for the Lakers, obviously we know it's going to be Russell, it's going to be Reeves, it's going to be LeBron, it's going to be Prince, and then it's going to be Anthony Davis. Obviously, you can switch Prince and LeBron there, but you get it. That's the starting lineup there for them. So starting off here at the point guard position, obviously Booker doubtful. We got Damian Lillard at 9K there. It's just one of those things. It's more so just an ownership play. So obviously with that Phoenix Suns news, if we get news that Booker and Beal are out, we're gonna want to load up on the guards, which would probably mean a lot of these spend ups at guards are going to be pretty low owns, just because you only have what, 4 guard spots technically. You can throw people in the point guard, shooting guard position there, and then you have the extra guard spot down here, and then you have the utility, which you could use as a 4th guard spot. So, guards are going to be key for tomorrow. So obviously it could lead to a potential spot where you maybe fade one of the guards and you go with like a Dame Lillard. Obviously it's tough because he only fits in the point guard and utility spot. So there's a lot of kind of little small routes we can kind of go with tomorrow to get a little bit different. But yeah, it's more so just kind of what ends up happening with that guard situation there with Phoenix that really determined if we're going to be paying up for a low owned Dame potentially. But I really like him. I like the price tag. I think he should be getting full run. And we know what Dame brings to the table. I expect him to still be kind of similarly aggressive, about at least 16, 17 shots a game, if not more. So I do like him there. But as I mentioned, we're going to have to wait and see. Harden obviously out. What that means is Maxey's going to be the starting point guard. Really like him there as one of the main guards, 7,500. I think it's just a great price tag for him. He gets Dame as a defensive assignment guarding him. So I think that should be easily be able to handle that for Maxey. So love him there. Beal, obviously doubtful. Russell, another one of those guards who's kind of in the mid range that can kind of get looked over if the Suns, throw out the minimum price guys. Russell played 36 minutes. He led the Lakers in minutes yesterday night, but did not shoot the ball great. But still, I think he finished with like 34, 35 fantasy points. So I mean, if he's going to be playing close to 36 minutes a game, it seems like they really don't have any guards off the bench to really spell him besides Gabe Vincent, who did terrible. But even if, Gabe Vincent plays, they really don't have much guards. It's pretty much just, Russell and Gabe. So I really like Russell here at 5,500. I think his price came down like, $300. So sign me up for Russell. He's point guard, shooting guard eligible. So he's a really, really solid play there. Really, really like him. Melton's more so of an ownership play. He should be more aggressive. He should see, mid to low 30s minutes here. It just really depends. As I said, this whole slate tomorrow is kind of, it hinges on the guards there for the Suns, because obviously we're going to want to get to them. They're going to be the most popular ones. But obviously if their ownership's egregious and like these guards, like a Dame, like a Russell, like a Melton are pretty low owned, you could definitely make a case to, get contrarian off of one or, a few of those guards there into the Suns and get to like Russell, pay up for a Dame, kind of that situation there. So as I said, it's really, really important just to wait for the news tomorrow for the Suns, because it's the kind of the key that unlocks the slate and how we want to attack it. So once again, make sure to stay updated with me on Twitter before the slate starts. About 15-30 minutes, I'll have kind of my updates there, and hopefully we get that news there from the Suns before this first game starts. Moving on to Payne, 4,900 for Payne. I think it's just a little bit too pricey. No real interest in him as a backup point guard there in Milwaukee. Same thing with Pat Bev, backup point guard there, backup guard. He should probably see 20 minutes or so. I think he's an okay player at 4,500. Nothing too crazy, but I do think still it's a little bit of an expensive price tag for Pat Bev, who's pretty much just defensive minded at this point in his career. Gabe Vincent, I don't mind going back to him if he's going to be low owned. I think there's solid spots. He did not play a ton of minutes. As you can see here, another one of the sites that I wanted to show you guys real quick is popcornmachine.net. It just, gives you the game flow of kind of, who starts, obviously who checks in, how many minutes they play into like what quarter, So it's very easy to follow. As you can see, Rui came in kind of midway through the first there. It kind of tells you came at the 6 minute mark, played to the 42nd mark. Obviously, it tells you how many field goals they have, rebounds, one offensive rebound, tells you when they shot, what stats they got at what time. So as you can see, it's pretty useful to see, kind of the shifts of people and kind of like who comes in and the closing shifts, who comes in like right before half, stuff like that. So we can definitely check that out. But in terms of minutes for the Lakers, as you can see, Wood played 15, Reddish played 17, Hayes played 6, Gabe Vincent played 22, Rui played 14, 31 for Reeves, 29 for LeBron, 29 for Prince, 36 for D'Lo, and then 34 for Anthony Davis. So another nice little neat tool there that helps you guys with your DFS process. But moving back here to the point guard position, as I mentioned, Gabe Vincent, when I say 22 minutes, it's one of those ownership things. Like if people are gonna load up on all the other guards, I think it makes for a nice spot to get to Gabe Vincent, who should see 20 plus minutes. He just did not play well, did not shoot greats, but we saw him with Miami. He can get hot from the floor, and he can easily pay off that price tag and be a nice contrarian pivot off of those other chalky guards. So keep that in mind there with Gabe Vincent. Goodwin, we already talked about him. It really depends on if he starts or if he doesn't start. Honestly, if he doesn't start, I still think he's a very, very strong play there at pretty much minimum price. And that's really it for the point guard position. For the shooting guard position, nothing too crazy here. Obviously, it's a pretty cheap position as of right now because Middleton's going to be leading it. But Middleton will be on some sort of minutes limits here for this game. So even at that price tag, 6,500, I would expect mid 20s minutes. Maybe he gets to the 30-minute mark. We'll have to wait and see. But at that price tag with the addition of Dame, I think he's more so of ownership play there. Kelly Oubre should be coming off the bench. Don't love him at the price tag unless we randomly get the news that he's going to start instead of PJ Tucker or for like Melton. But at that price tag coming off the bench, he should be aggressive. They're going to need his offense, so he will be aggressive off the bench, but more so just more contrarian play there. Reeves, I like his price. It didn't move at all. He played, was it like 30, was it 31 minutes, 32? Sorry, trying to remember. But 5,600, he did rebound more. I think he had like 8 rebounds. Did not shoot the ball well either, but still, he paid off his price tag. I think he got to mid 30s fantasy points there. So he looks, pretty solid. He should be super aggressive. I think it's a solid price tag for him. Obviously, we talked about D'Lo. Really like him there at that price tag. Led the team in terms of minutes. Did not shoot the ball great, but if he's going to be playing 36 minutes, there's really no guards to back him up. It's really hard not to get to D'Lo there at 5,500. Melton, we talked about him. He's going to be starting most likely for Harden, 5,300. Going to be like the third/fourth option. He does have a pretty strong ceiling. He averages about, I think, 22 fantasy points per game there with no Harden. But obviously, he should step up in terms of offensive ability. Like he will be a little bit more aggressive this year in terms of last year. So I think he's a solid play there. Going to be more of like an outlier just because people are going to flock to the cheaper guard positions or pay up for like a D'Lo, but he does have upside. Like he is very, very good at steals. As you can see here, these games where he can go for multiple steals, hit some shots, get some rebounds, get some assists, and easily go for 30, 35 plus. So he does have that kind of upside, but he'll be a nice contrarian play there in the lower price range for the guards. Moving on down here to Beasley. I don't like Beasley that much. It's just one of those things. He's going to be defensive minded, going to hit some threes. Really no interest in him at all from me. Pat Connaughton, kind of the same thing there. I think there's really no need to get to these guards who are kind of more 3 and D with all the other guard plays on this slate. Eric Gordon, he shot the ball 16 times. He went 4 of 16 for me in that last game last night. 4,400. He should probably start. He's going to be super aggressive. Love that price tag there for him. I mean, if he's going to be shooting the ball 16 plus times with Booker on the, playing alongside Booker, imagine him without Booker. Like he should shoot the ball probably another 15 times in this game tomorrow. So I do really like Gordon there at that price tag. Moving on down, Allen, he should be more aggressive there at 4,200. I don't mind him, but I prefer getting to Gordon. Vincent, we already talked about him. He should be a nice pivot play off of these other guards. Cheaper option. His minutes aren't a guarantee like the other guards, but still, he definitely has some upside there if he hits his shots. Moving on to the small forward position here. LeBron, I still can't get to him. He should be playing about 30 minutes a game, 28 to 30 minutes every night for probably the first half of the season. So even at this price tag, 8,700, I don't love it. He can definitely get you there. He's going to be pretty low owned because people are not going to want to play him. But it's just one of those things. Don't love the price tag just with how he's on it, like a 30-minute limit. Tobias Harris, a very strong option there, 6,600. We already talked about those players. Moving on to Koji. I think it's an okay play. Like he did good. I think he had like close to like 28 fantasy points that last game. Um, he will be more aggressive. They will look to him a little bit more. You know, he should be more aggressive offensively, but I do think he'll be kind of one of those guys that kind of falls back in terms of like the pecking order. You're gonna have Nurkic, you're gonna have KD, you're gonna have Grayson Allen, you're gonna have Aaron Gordon, who are all gonna be more aggressive than a Koji. So I think he's just more so of an okay play there. Moving on down to Torian Prince, he had a fantastic game. I think he went for like 33, 34 fantasy points there at like 3,500. Now he's up to 4,300. I do think people will chase that. It's just one of those kind of things that comes down to, can he hit his shots? If he can, he should get to mid 20s fantasy points if he's, really aggressive. But if not, even at his price tag, he can definitely have those goose egg games. So right now he's more of a stay away from me, but he's still, a decent play there. Moving on down to Crowder, he should come off the bench, should play around 15 minutes, maybe a few more. Don't think there's a need to get to him. And that's really it. Cam Reddish is questionable. Nothing too crazy there. That maybe just get a little bit more minutes to a few of the other guards, but nothing too crazy there. Moving on to the power forward position, obviously Giannis at the top 10 too. Looks fantastic here against Philly. Yeah, I'm not really sure who's going to guard Giannis, PJ Tucker, but they did lose Montrezl Harrell, who obviously didn't play a ton last year. They also lost Niang. So, Philly is pretty small here. But yeah, Giannis looks great at 10-2. Kevin Durant with most likely no Beal, with most likely no Booker. Pretty much a core play there. Lock and load should be super popular, but obviously for good reason. It's going to be his team the whole time. Moving on down here a little bit more, we have Bobby Portis. I think he's a strong play off the bench. It's just one of those things, his minutes aren't always a guarantee, but it's one of those things, it can range from him playing 17 minutes to him one game playing 34. It really depends on how he's doing and if he's staying out of foul trouble. But if he comes in and hit his shots, he has the double-double upside, and he can go for 30, 40, 50 plus, depending on how well he is doing. So yeah, I think Bobby Portis is just one of those really boomer bust strong plays there, and he comes at a pretty cheap price tag, 5,400. A nice way to get different there in the power forward position or the center spot there. Hachimura dropped down to 4,000. He played 15 minutes. It's just one of those things. He went 2 of 10. So if he hit his shots, if they're gonna need his offense. Like if he hits the shots, he will get extended. I could see him going for 20 plus. He makes for another strong, contrarian option there at 4,000. That's really it there for the power forward position, and then for the center position here to kind of finish up this video. Kind of wish this was about 12 minutes, but unfortunately we're at 17. It's just a lot of talk about there for this slate because of that Phoenix news there and kind of how it can change the whole slate. But Beat at the top obviously looks fantastic. 10-3. He averages 62 fantasy points per game without Harden. So he's a fantastic spend up along with Giannis. Davis, I like buying low on Davis. He had a terrible game yesterday. I don't think he scored a basket or a point there in the second half. In the entire second half, I think he went 0 of 5, 0 points. So yeah, he got embarrassed by Jokic. I expect a huge bounce back game here for Davis. So really like paying up for him there. Fantastic spot going up against Nurkic for Anthony Davis, even though, Nurkic is no slouch defensively, but still Anthony Davis should have his way. Getting back here to the center position. Obviously it's a big drop off from the two studs to Anthony Davis to Nurkic here, 6,100. He had a fantastic game last night. I think he had a double-double by halftime, had like 30 fantasy points by halftime. But that's what you can get from Nurkic. He can get that double-double upside. He can have the assists. He can have the blocks. So really like him there. He should be more aggressive with no Booker and no Beal. 6,400, we get him at another great price tag. So there's a lot of options here to go with the center position because we get Embiid, fantastic spot here. We have Anthony Davis, and then we have Nurkic and even Lopez, who are great plays. So a lot of different routes we can go here for this slates. But yeah, Nurkic comes in at another fantastic price tag. Should get more ownership there with people box score chasing and watching, but still, he's a great strong play there going against AD. Talked about Portis. Wood just didn't play enough minutes for me. The price really dropped on him, but still, if he's going to see like 20 or under 20 minutes, I just don't love that price tag of 5,400. 4,800. I'd still rather take a shot on Bobby Portis, who's got more solidified minutes. Eubanks should back up. Nurkic there should play around 20 minutes, give or take. Not my favorite play, but he's definitely there and he's definitely cheap. And they're going to need him just in terms of like the bench depth. And that's really it for this slate here. So as I mentioned, the key here is going to be Phoenix and what they do with the guards. But You know, Goodwin should see a good amount of minutes, so I'd throw him in there, even if he doesn't start. You know, it's going to be the Eric Gordon and Grayson Allen show there for the shooting guard, small forward position. For this, Okoji will see minutes, but I'd rather get to the other two. I do think we could probably see maybe a little bit of Nazir Little, maybe some more minutes for a guy like Nurkic, who I think he played about 32 minutes. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, I do expect the starters to get a heavy amount of run and like the sixth and seventh man to be Eubanks, to be Jordan Goodwin, and then maybe they run like an eighth and ninth man of Yuta and maybe Nazir Little. So that's kind of my thoughts there. But the key to the slate right now is going to be that Phoenix guard rotation and kind of what happens with them. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to stay updated with me on Twitter. But as of right now, this is kind of the core play route. Maxi, love that spot there against Milwaukee. Eric Gordon, assuming he starts, even if he comes off the bench, he's going to be super, super aggressive. Very cheap price tag. He shot the ball 16 times that last game with Booker and Durant there. So love him. Obviously, no Booker, most likely no Beal. Kevin Durant, you lock him in at that price tag. Anthony Davis, a great buyback spot here against the Suns and Nurkic defense. And then you have Goodwin, who should be the number one guard off the bench. If not, he could possibly start. So once again, we got to keep you updated with that Suns news, but that's the video for you guys. Hope you guys like it. Check out my DFS breakdown for the Thursday night football game, which will be out tomorrow morning. And yeah, that's the video. See you guys.